Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, January the 9th. It's National Apricot Day or Apricot Day. How do you say it?
Apricot.
That's how I say it. National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. We appreciate you all the time. It's also National Static Electricity Day. Here, come over here. I'm going to shock you. Come here. All right. Also, I've got some guests coming up today. I've got father and son authors, both best-selling authors, David Sheff and Nick Sheff. And this is the father-son pair that's changing the way America thinks about addiction. Their best-selling memoirs are the basis for the film Beautiful Boy, starring Steve Carell. And they have a new book out called High, Everything You Want to Know About Drugs, Alcohol, and Addiction. So I think it's pretty cool. Going to be chatting with them, and who knows, it might change your life. That doesn't happen on this show often, does it? No. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Want a good laugh to start every day? We do, and you can too. Be sure to follow WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com on Facebook. Every morning we send out our Weird Gift of the Day. You don't even have to buy anything. You can just follow our page and laugh at the bizarre real gift items we find and share every morning. And maybe you can share them with your friends who have a good sense of humor too. We have a link to make it easy to find us at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Time now for surveys, studies, and such. It is a study that we'll talk about today that reveals the truth about dating in 2018. Thanks to social media and the internet, your potential date can and will learn a lot about you before ever meeting face-to-face. Should I just update this and say 2019 since this is clearly from last year? It says here, findings include 76% of people will spend at least 15 minutes or more researching the person they're going to go on a date with. So they're going to go online
You
and
almost have to
super
this
sleuth.
day and age. It's so
Fuck you.
dangerous not to.
2/3 say they go most or all the way back in a personal social media profile. They keep scrolling all the way, gonna know more, gonna go back. 40% have backed out of a date because of something they saw online. 40%, that's a big number. And 61% admit to fantasizing about a future date before they even meet them because of their online profile. At the end of the day, the majority of people, 63%, say they are not embarrassed by their pre-date investigations. So they're saying, no, I'm not embarrassed.
No, you have to.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Very dangerous world.
It
so
is.
Take your time.
Thanks for listening to surveys, studies, and such right here on the John and Heidi Show.
Cable and dish companies keep jacking up their rates. Join the cable cutting revolution with ChannelSurferTV.com. Watch TV with no monthly fee. Our DVR lets you record shows and pause live TV with no monthly fee. Want to stream movies? We have a device for that too. It works with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and many other streaming platforms, so you can cut the cable and save a ton of money every month. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
And this is your brain on drugs. A California man was arrested in Utah after allegedly biting a large chunk of another man's ear off. Yikes. They had an argument first. Does that help? No. What were they arguing about? Conspiracy theories. 43-year-old Brian David Boyack is charged with one count of mayhem. Whoa, I've never heard that. What is the charge? Mayhem.
That's something to be charged with.
3 counts of domestic violence and the presence of a child, and 1 count of criminal mischief, and 1 count of intoxication. That's kind of the main one. Investigators say that he was in a hot tub with a victim who mentioned that he worked for a big banking business. He took issue with it and began an extremely heated argument about big corporations and his conspiracy theories. That is when they locked him out of the home and he began hitting the front door and damaging the patio furniture. Then he went outside to tell him to quit. That's when he attacked the man and bit him in the ear, bit a large chunk of his ear off. Wow. Then he got in his truck and drove away. He was arrested, and let's just say this. Don't bite someone's ear, ever. It's never a good time. Bad idea. It's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Dr. Oz is saying that the diet of the year for 2019 is eat when the sun goes up and stop eating when the sun goes down. Dr. Oz, that's how I gained weight in the first place. Oh, you don't mean constantly the whole time. just eat when the sun comes up and then just eat when the sun goes down? Is that the plan?
I don't know.
No nocturnal eating, I believe is what he's saying. All right. Jersey Shore star Dina Cortez and her husband Chris Buckner welcomed their first child on Saturday. Baby is 20 inches tall, weighs 6 pounds, 5 ounces. That's cool. And Aquaman swam to the #1 spot at the box office. Worldwide total now, $940 million, 940.7. Now, that puts Aquaman in the top worldwide grossing movie in the DC comic extended universe. So, there you go. It must be really good. Or at least people wanted to see it. There you go. This is today's Big Screen, Little Screen.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now, your scoop of the day, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. This first thing reminds me of the movie Gravity. Remember the movie Gravity?
Oh, yeah.
And when she was in the space station, she was trying to get help, and she called and was talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Well, a Dutch astronaut has described how he accidentally contacted an American emergency service on 911 while he was in orbit above the Earth. So he's pushing buttons, and they said, "Hello, 911, what's your emergency?" I'm on the space station.
Huh.
Oops, didn't mean to call you. Can you imagine getting that call? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, how would you help them?
Yeah, you can't. We are a week into the new year, and if you made a resolution, there's a 50% chance that it's already broken. By the end of the month, by the way, 90% of the resolutions will be shot. My resolution was to lose weight, and I'm working on it, and I'm not giving up. I set
I'm
a goal.
working on it, too.
I set a goal, not a resolution. An Oakland woman was arrested for biting a jogger who pepper sprayed her dog.
Oh, holy cow.
So,
the woman bit the jogger?
Yeah, the woman bit the jogger.
Oh, my gosh.
Because she pepper sprayed her dog. So, I don't know. Why'd you pepper spray my dog? Because I don't want him to bite me. Oh, yeah? Well, now you got this coming. I just don't understand.
I wonder if the dog was attacking her or if she was
I
just
don't
being
know.
rude.
I don't know. I've got a link to the story in the show notes if you want to read all about it. But we're moving on to this one. Pakistan International Airlines is under fire for telling obese flight attendants to lose weight or they're fired. The flight attendants say it's not the airline's role to tell them how to live. So do you...
You know what? I know that it's not exactly politically correct, but...
Well, then what are you going to say?
But... it's always been the policy that a flight attendant can only weigh a certain amount or less, or they can't get the job.
Why? I don't understand that.
I don't know. I just know that
weight limits for the plane? Is that what it is?
that I went for an interview and we all had to be weighed.
See, I just think that's a thing of yesteryear.
And if you were not of weight, they would say, "Oh, you're a few pounds over. I'm sorry, that's not going to work." And you were excluded.
I've never been weighed at a job interview. Thank God.
I
was
for the flight attendant.
Did
program.
you get the job?
No.
Okay.
But not because my weight was actually fine. It was just barely fine.
Right.
Like barely fine. But I did not end up working there.
I'm not even going to ask you why, because I got a feeling we can't talk about it on the air. So I've got a link to that story in the show notes if you want to read all about it, but I think that's just bizarre. 40 tourists were robbed in Rio de Janeiro. That all happened on Sunday at Christ the Redeemer statue. In one day, 40 tourists were robbed in Rio de Janeiro. What the police in Rio de Janeiro are calling a pretty slow day. Just kidding. I think that's kind of a busy day. So 40 tourists robbed in one day. And we're going to end on this. Actually, we might get to one more thing. The 116th Congress just recently swore in earlier this week. They became the most diverse ever Congress, boasting the most female members ever, with 102 in the House and 25 in the Senate. The Congressional Black Caucus and the Hispanic Caucus have welcomed all-time high numbers as well. There are also more Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in Congress than ever before. Democratic Congresswomen from Minnesota and from Michigan are the first two Muslim women in Congress, and from Arizona, the first openly bisexual senator in history following the swearing in. So our Congress is, the 116th Congress is the most diverse.
Who cares? Can they do the job?
Well, there you go.
And clearly they can't because they're not doing anything.
Well, they're hopefully everybody will get back to work and things will work. But they just started. They've only been there a couple days, so give them some time.
Do your job.
Calm down, Heidi. Hey, why don't you take a lap around the building here? Just one last story here. Madonna is being I've had this story for 4 or 5 days now. Madonna's being accused of getting butt implants after a video from her impromptu performance on New Year's Eve. Have you seen this video?
I have not seen the video. It showed up on my newsfeed, but I didn't bother to watch it.
It's just ridiculous. And who cares? Who cares what Madonna did? I don't understand why that's such a big deal. Everybody's all worried about, did she get butt implants at her age? I don't know, and I don't care. I just don't get it. I wasn't even going to read it, but I didn't want to end on the other things, so we're going to end on this. It's going to do it for your scoop of the day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
At FunkyMonkeyShirts.com, we want to remind you it's never too early to start thinking about Valentine's Day. And what says I love you better than awesome matching fun t-shirts? Get something for your sweetie and for you. We have several his and hers t-shirt designs to choose from at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Let the world know how much you love one another. And wear your heart on your sleeve. Well, at least on your shirt. With a little help from FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today we have not one but two amazing guests, David Sheff and Nick Sheff. They're both authors, and they are a father and son team, and they just recently worked together on a book. But first, let's talk about David Sheff. He's got a book called Beautiful Boy. That was recently turned into a movie with Steve Carell. Also, Nick Sheff has a book called Tweak, Growing Up on Methamphetamines. That was also part of the screenplay for the movie, Beautiful Boy. And now the two of them, after putting out many works of their own from different perspectives, are working together to bring it all together in one book called High. Everything you want to know about drugs, alcohol, and addiction. It just became available starting yesterday, and it's out right now. Let's start with David. What is it like to see the success of something that you put together, and now you see it on a big screen, and it's positively impacting families all over the world?
It is a great feeling. It's bizarre to, to have people like, Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet and Maura Tierney and Amy Ryan. I mean, these amazing actors portray our family. But it is, first of all, I think Nick would feel the same way, that say the same thing. We're really honored to be, in the hands of these people who've made this amazing film. And also, it feels really important now that we feel kind of in a really privileged position to have these movies come out, to have this movie come out, because it's a time when so many people are suffering with addiction. And our hope is that the movie will come out and it will offer people some comfort to realize they aren't alone, and also encourage a conversation that we need to have in this country about addiction. And
I know that is an epidemic. That's something that, a lot of families struggle with, and it's something that for some, it's a quiet struggle. They don't realize, there are people outside of their life don't know that it's going on, but others, it's a very loud struggle. And let's talk to Nick for a moment here, Nick. When you were watching the movie and how it was portrayed, and when you had a chance to read the book that your father had put together, you're kind of the subject of both of those. What was that like to read that and kind of see what an impact it made on everybody surrounding you?
Yeah, it was really amazing. My dad and I actually finished writing our two books around the same time, and it was during a period where we hadn't spoken for about a year. So, we started talking again, and he sent me Beautiful Boy, and I sent him Tweak. And, when I read his book, it was really the first time that I guess I just didn't know up until that point. I was in denial about what an impact my addiction had been having on my family. And I sort of thought, my dad wanted, he could sort of forget about me and sort of move on and just, focus on his other kids and my stepmom. But reading Beautiful Boy, I saw just how impossible that was. And, how his marriage almost fell apart because of my addiction and because of the impact it had on our family. And reading it for the first time, it really changed things for me. And then, seeing the movie, which was a combination of Beautiful Boy and Tweak, to me, it just was such an incredible reminder of what our family went through, and I just felt so grateful. And beyond that, to be able to sort of go around the country like I've been doing, going to screenings of the movie and talking to people afterwards, it's just been such an incredible gift to connect with people. And and that's what we're hoping to do too with our new book, High, to be able to really talk to people about these issues in a way that is very honest and it's been a real gift.
That is awesome. And making a positive impact now has got to be just amazing as well. Let's talk about the book because both of you have done very well with your own books, from your perspective, from your dad's perspective. And then when the movie was put together, that's one of the things that was really cool about it is they took the two books, your perspective and his perspective, and merged them together to make this movie. So it's no wonder that it's doing as well as it's doing. But now the new book that's out where you collaborated and worked together, High, Everything You Wanted to Know About Drugs, Alcohol, and Addiction. What was it like working with your dad on a book like this for the first time?
It was amazing, and I just am so grateful to him. I mean, actually, just even on a personal level, because he did so much research into what drugs actually do to the brain, and what treatment methods have been proven to work the best, and I just feel like I'm so touched, I guess, by the fact that he tried so hard and did such an amazing job of understanding, what was going on with me once it became clear that I had this disease. And, I think his level of knowledge about this subject is so extensive, and I feel like I actually really learned a lot from him working on this book together about addiction stuff, just because I went through it, but my dad spent so much time talking to doctors and researchers, and it really was incredible to hear his perspective and everything that he'd learned.
Again, our guests today, David Sheff and Nick Sheff, a father and son team. They have a new book out called High, Everything You Want to Know About Drugs and Alcohol. And we just heard there from Nick. But David, what was it like working with your son? Now, you guys probably have different working styles, but how did that come together when you were working together on the same book?
Well, sort of amazing. I mean, we both went through this hell together, and so, we emerged from this, and parents and other family members often ask me, they're in the middle of this, they're in the throes of somebody that they love, is addicted, and they just can't imagine that they can reconcile and go forward as a family. And of course, sometimes families don't make it. But, we learned, we went through a lot, but we learned that families can make it, and there's hope and there's healing. And I think, we all feel in our family that we're just closer than ever, and we just don't take each other for granted and just, of course, love each other so much. And so working with Nick, it was amazing. First of all, it was sort of felt like a miracle after everything we'd been through. And then, to write this book in particular, it seemed like, in a way, we both had our roles cut out for ourselves. I'm the dad. I'm, a journalist my whole life. I'm a researcher. And so, I think that, my research is sort of the basis of a lot of the book. But the reason that I think the book hopefully will connect with young people is because Nick is such an amazing storyteller, and he tells his story and goes into it in different ways than he went to in the past. And I just hope it connects with people, kids, on a really sort of emotional, deep level. I think it will, and hopefully it'll open them up to a conversation with their peers, with each other, with their parents, with their teachers, counselors, whatever it is, to go forward and maybe help them navigate a time that is so tricky for so many of our kids.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for taking some time to visit with us. I appreciate it a bunch.
Thank you so much.
Again, David Sheff and Nick Sheff, father and son team, their new book, High, Everything You Wanted to Know About Drugs and Alcohol. It's available now. We have a link to the book in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Cable and dish companies keep jacking up their rates. Join the cable cutting revolution with ChannelSurferTV.com. Watch TV with no monthly fee. Our DVR lets you record shows and pause live TV with no monthly fee. Want to stream movies? We have a device for that too. It works with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and many other streaming platforms, so you can cut the cable and save a ton of money every month. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
It says here, white sturgeon is the fish that lays the eggs for beluga caviar. So
Really?
You would think that it would be beluga, wouldn't you? But no, it's white sturgeon is the fish that lays eggs for beluga caviar. Why don't they call it white sturgeon caviar? Wouldn't that make more sense?
I don't know.
Apparently not. This is today's fun fact. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. We want to remind you it's never too early to start thinking about Valentine's Day. And what says I love you better than awesome matching fun t-shirts? Get something for your sweetie and for you. We have several his and hers t-shirt designs to choose from at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Let the world know how much you love one another. And wear your heart on your sleeve. Well, at least on your shirt. With a little help from FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Time now for Fear This Fun with Phobias. Today's phobia is nebulophobia. 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 What do you think nebulophobia is?
Is it a fear of space?
No, that would make sense, though. It is fear of fog.
Oh.
So, like a nebulous looks like fog. I can see that.
Okay.
So, nebulophobia is today's weird... No, it's not. What do we call it? Fun with phobias. I can't remember. It's new. Cut me some slack. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Want a good laugh to start every day? We do, and you can too. Be sure to follow WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com on Facebook. Every morning we send out our Weird Gift of the Day. You don't even have to buy anything. You can just follow our page and laugh at the bizarre real gift items we find and share every morning. And maybe you can share them with your friends who have a good sense of humor too. We have a link to make it easy to find us at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Time now for Weird News, brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. And today's weird gift is chicken leg pants. Have you seen these things?
I have seen these. They're hilarious.
They're ridiculous. Who is going to wear these? The good news is they're really cheap, but it's just ridiculous. Do you want me to get you some of those?
No.
No? Okay. Anyway, weird news of the day.
Some people are wearing them.
Apparently. Police in Perth, Australia thought that they potentially had a tragic accident on their hands when they were called to a house when they heard reports of a toddler screaming and a man shouting death threats. Multiple units arrived. They were all surrounding the house, and they could hear inside, "Why won't you die?" Fearing the worst, they responded to the incident to find a man was trying to kill a spider. That's what was going on. It was on Twitter. It says, never a dull moment for the police. Upon arrival, an embarrassed man told the police he was terrified of spiders. He had been trying to kill one that had found its way into the house. No injuries cited except to the spider. No further police involvement required. So they've deleted the post after that because a lot of the comments on there weren't all that great. So people were not exactly kind. But there you go. It's today's Weird News, brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Now your Moment of Duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. In Florida, a sheriff's deputy there says that a person by the name of Lita Crisotomo, probably got that wrong, tried to get away on a tricycle. She's 52 years old, by the way. It did not work, by the way. Deputies accused her of using a gun to menace a jogger and then to stop a postal truck to steal from it. She took one package, and the gun was not real, but she does face multiple charges. Did we talk about this already?
I don't know.
I think we did. I think we talked about this a week ago. I don't know. Maybe that was a different person in Florida, stealing one package from a mailman and fleeing on a tricycle. But it's probably the same story. I can't imagine that happened more than once.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
but you just never know.
remember this one.
All right.
But...
Thanks for listening to today's Moment of Duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Time now for the dad joke of the day. You ready to laugh, Heidi?
Oh, yes,
All right.
because this is always a side splitter.
Okay, you get your laughing muscles ready.
Okay.
What do you call somebody with no body and no nose?
I don't know.
Nobody, no nose. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's what I mean.
You messed that up.
I probably did. Nobody and no nose, and the answer is nobody knows.
Wow.
I think that it's kind of wrong. It should be nobody, no nose. I don't know. I'm thinking way too much into this. Thank you for the weird joke, the dad joke. the bad joke. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, and the headline says, when woman leaves giant sign for a thief who stole her bike, people start knocking on her door. A thief stole Amanda Needham's bike from the front of her house, and she left a giant angry sign as her expression of frustration. But she wasn't really expecting anything from strangers. She was hoping that it would maybe reach the, person that stole the bike. Here's what the sign says. To the person who stole my bicycle, I hope you needed it more than I did. It was $200 used, and I needed it to get to work. I can't afford another one. Next time, steal a hipster's Peugeot. That must be an expensive bike.
I have
apparently.
no idea.
Or not steal. P.S. Bring it back. She said, I felt a little foolish writing the sign, and if I would have spent a little more time locking up my bike, as much time as I spent working on the sign, it might not have been stolen in the first place. So after the sign had been up for a day, a neighbor came over with a blue teenager-sized mountain bike, and he said, hey, here's a bicycle that I have. If you want to use this, you can. And she said, I was kind of flustered and told him, I appreciate it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to use that. It was kind of a small bike. Then a few days later, a middle-aged woman stopped by and told her, hey, I drove by and I saw this. I made my husband drive by a second time, and we read the sign. If you need a bicycle, I'll let you borrow one of mine. How cool is that? People
That's very
pouring
nice.
out of the woodwork saying, hey, if you need a bike, I'll let you
That's
borrow
really
mine.
nice.
And whoever stole the bicycle, if they needed a bicycle, I bet they probably could have found someone that would have let them
and
use one too.
Sorry, but shame on you.
Yeah,
That's not
don't
the
do
way
that.
you handle it.
No, that's a bad thing. I've got a link to the story if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.